It is time for
Original Tales of Horror.
terrifying true stories of the paranormal,
Urban legends
and folklore.
Join us as we explore the dark, the terrifying, and the unknown.
Welcome to the podcast where no matter what time it is always
horror time.
I jolted awake when I heard my name whispered. I looked over to the side of my bed, and I was met with the glowing blue light of my phone that read 3 a.m. The sound that woke me up is no longer there, just the sounds of thunder and rain tapping against the window. Was that part of my dream? I scanned the room just to make sure. The room still adorned with my 15-year-old aesthetic. A Minecraft lamp here, and Avengers action figures lining the dresser there, and a Michael Jordan cardboard cutout because I thought it was cool to be retro. But all of these things made no sounds. There were no batteries in them that could cause a malfunction. The sound had to have come from outside my bedroom. To be sure I truly did not hear anything, I slowly sat up and inched out of my bed and walked across the room, the cold hardwood pressing against my feet. I reached for the doorknob, careful to be quiet and not to make the door creak, as many things did in this mid-20th century house. You see, my dad is a notorious heavy sleeper, but being so quiet is a habit I picked up from when my mom lived here, a notoriously light sleeper. Out in the upstairs hallway, a still darkness that can only be found during the dark hours of the morning filled the air. The hallway was empty, except for my unpacked suitcase that traveled with me from campus to my mom's house and now to my dad's house. Suddenly, I start to hear a tapping sound. Faint at first, and then it becomes louder and louder. Timidly, I walk down the stairs, again, careful not to set off creaks on the steps. The tapping still sounding off, incessantly, in the same cadence as I walk further down. At the bottom of the steps, I turn the corner to the living room to see the source of the tapping. The wooden rocking chair, the one that has been there in the same spot since we moved in when I was 5 years old. It was moving back and forth, with a figure sitting in it. The room, lit only by moonlight from the slit of the curtains, illuminates the person sitting in the chair. Dad? Dad.
Hello, son. I didn't hear you behind me.
Do you know what time it is?
Time? Oh, yes, time, of course. Just couldn't sleep, that's all.
I see. Is there a reason you called for me?
Called for you? I don't believe there was a reason.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yes, son. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, I'm headed back to bed. Remember, I got a long day with my girlfriend tomorrow, meeting the family for the first time. Their holiday dinner.
That's nice, son.
Okay, well, good night. Dad, try to get some sleep. As I turned around, walking away and hearing him resume his slow rocking, I stop. Son? Son is not something he ever refers to me as. More of a buddy or dude, but not son. The cracking of the thunder outside makes the bones of the house creak, something that has startled me since I was 5, but tonight was different. I barely even noticed, as my mind was so fixed on what was going on with my dad. Whatever it was, I figured I'll try and talk to him tomorrow. As I let the thought pass, my mind drifted back to my anxiety of meeting her family tomorrow, which then drifted into sleep. In between a state of REM and fully awake, I am once again awoken. Grogginess fades to awareness. 3:30 a.m. Dad? Dad, what the hell? A faint sound of crying, muffled by the wooden floors, rises from the downstairs. Honestly, I don't ever remember my dad crying, even after the divorce or the death of his own parents. What the hell could have him crying? The crying leads me to the kitchen. There, all the drawers are wide open, utensils sprawled across the ground, and a slight whimper is now coming from the dining room, where I see my dad sitting at the dining room table. A dim glow from the corner lamp is a backlight to his silhouette. Dad, seriously, what's going on? I've never seen you act like this ever. Did you and Mom have a fight or something?
Mom? Mom. Oh, no. Me and your mother are fine. Everything is going to be just okay, son.
Why do you keep calling me that?
Calling you what, son?
That, son. You never refer to me as son.
Oh, don't be silly, son. I always do.
I think you really should go to bed. We can talk about this tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. It'll all be over then. It'll all be over by the end of this hour.
What will be over? Why the hell are you being so cryptic? Come on, let's go to bed. Walking back up the steps, I glance back at my dad. I don't think he has made eye contact with me at all tonight. Even now, he looks down at the ground, mumbling to himself. As I turn to look at him before I enter my room, I see him just standing there in the middle of the hallway, still looking down at the floor as if he's a 5-year-old who was just scolded for doing something wrong. Good night, Dad.
Yes, of course. What time is it?
Huh? It's time for bed, and also 3:50.
Thank you, son. It's almost time. No need to worry.
Right. Okay, well, good night. My dad saunters to his room, head still hanging low. He seemingly is engulfed by the pitch blackness of his bedroom. I close my door and sit on my bed. I can't sleep now. My concern turns into fear, back into concern, and into confusion. What is going on with him? There is just something off. He seemed fine when I got here this morning. What changed? 3:55 a.m. Too early to call her, but I have to. Mom might have some insight on this. 3:55. The hour is almost over. Why did he say that? It'll be over by the end of the hour.
Son, let me in.
Oh my God, just go to sleep.
Listen here, you little shit. Let me in. I'll break your goddamn neck. Let me in.
Jesus, Dad, I'm calling 911. You are seriously scaring me.
I'm sorry, son. I didn't mean to freak you out like that. I just want to talk. Let me in.
I pick up my phone and I see a notification pop up. A voicemail. The contact listed says, Dad.
Hey, buddy. I didn't want to wake you. It's around 2 a.m. I was calling to work for an emergency operation. I should be back before you wake. But I hope you have a great day. I know it's a big one for you. Can't wait to hear about it. And I'll see you tonight. Love ya.
Hello, our frightful friends, and welcome to Horror Time. I'm Timekeeper Matt.
And I'm Timekeeper Pat.
And today, our season finale, season 4 finale, whoop whoop. We are going to go over Doppelgängers.
Doppelgängers.
What?
It's from Community.
Doppelgänger.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But yes, we're going to be going over doppelgangers. So it's a creepy topic we haven't touched at all, I don't think, in any of our episodes. I don't think anything's related to doppelgangers. So this will be a fun little one to end off our season. And just real quick, we are going to do our seasons a little different, where we kind of end it, either close to the beginning of the year or close to the end of the year, whatever, however the episodes lie. But we're going to do that, and we're going to kind of mix it up with our normal episodes like this, where we, do our tales in the beginning, and then the true encounters afterwards, and then we're going to have some episodes where it's just our original tales that we tell. So we've had fun doing that, where we've just dedicated episodes. So I hope you guys have liked that as well. But the last couple episodes have just been dedicated to our original tales, and then as the season, kind of the off season, we're going to be doing another show called Dying to Discuss. It's going to be a film review, film discussion, of course, all horror films from cheesy to now to classic, that type of thing, modern, classic, all of that stuff, just everything, because we love horror films. So so let's go ahead and get into this story. Are you ready?
Let's hear it, man.
Throughout history, tales of doppelgangers have sent shivers down the spines of those who hear them. The term doppelganger originates from the German words doppel, meaning double, and ganger, meaning walker or goer. These ghostly duplicates are said to be harbingers of misfortune or death, often appearing to individuals or their acquaintances in moments of crisis. The concept of doppelgangers dates back centuries, with references found in various cultural folklore and literature. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the Ka was believed to be a spiritual double, while in Norse mythology, the Vardoger, I think I said that right, is a spirit precursor of a person, often seen performing their actions in advance. In literature and legends, doppelgangers have been depicted as ominous entities. Famous Edgar Allan Poe's short story, William Wilson, tells of a man plagued by his double, leading to his eventual ruin. Similarly, in Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Double, the protagonist encounters a sinister replica of himself that slowly takes over his life. One of the earliest recorded accounts of a doppelganger comes from the writings of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, who claimed to have encountered his double while riding on a road in 1774. The poet and playwright reported seeing his exact replica dressed in an unfamiliar attire, heading in the opposite direction. Years later, Goethe found himself on the same road wearing the same exact clothes that his doppelganger was wearing years prior. Other notable doppelganger encounters include those of Abraham Lincoln, who saw a spectral twin in a mirror on the night of his election, and Catherine the Great, who witnessed her double sitting on her throne shortly before her death. Vice Admiral George Tryon was seen at a dinner party on the day he perished in a naval accident, and poet Percy Shelley met his ghostly twin, who spoke to him ominously. There have been several modern-day accounts of doppelganger sightings. For instance, in 2006, a British woman named Debbie Ball reported seeing her own double multiple times over the course of a few weeks. Each time, the doppelganger appeared to be going about mundane tasks in her home, creating an eerie sense of displacement. Also in 2015, a man from Texas named Robert encountered his doppelganger at a local grocery store. The double was dressed identically to him and mimicked his movements in an uncanny precision. Robert's friends who were with him at the time also witnessed the strange occurrence. But perhaps one of the most eerie and well-documented cases is that of Emilie Sagée, a French teacher in the mid-19th century. Sagée's story stands out for the sheer number of credible witnesses and the frequency of her double's appearances. The events that transpired in that small Latvian school are a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. So here's her story of Emilie Sagée. It was a bright, sunny day in the mid-19th century at an exclusive girls' school in Latvia. The school was bustling with the usual morning activities. Young students dressed in their crisp uniforms giggled and chattered in the corridors as they made their way to their classrooms. In one of those classrooms, Emilie Sagée, the well-respected French teacher, was preparing for her lesson. Emilie was known for her elegance and grace, always carrying herself with a calm demeanor. As the students settled down in their seats, the room fell silent and all eyes were on their beloved teacher. Emilie walked up to the chalkboard, her long skirt swishing against the wooden floor. She picked up a piece of chalk and began to write. Her hand moving with practiced precision, the students diligently took notes, their pens scratching softly on the paper. But then, something strange happened. One of the students, Marie, felt an odd sensation as if someone was standing too close to her. She glanced up from her notebook and was startled to see another Emilie standing next to the real one at the chalkboard. This second Emilie, an exact replica, was mimicking the teacher's movements, but with a slight delay, like a ghostly shadow. Marie gasped, causing her classmates to look up too. A ripple of shock and fear passed through the room as all the students saw the doppelganger. The second Emilie had an eerie, vacant expression, and her movements were mechanical, almost unnatural. The real Emilie, unaware of the commotion, continued her lesson, her chalk making crisp lines on the board. The doppelganger, however, did not hold any chalk, and yet seemed to trace the same lines in the air. The students exchanged frightened glances, unsure of what to do. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tense, the air thick with fear and confusion. Suddenly, Emilie turned around to face her class, her warm smile quickly fading as she saw the terror in her students' eyes. She noticed their gaze was fixed on something behind her. Slowly, she turned to look over her shoulder and froze. There, standing beside her, was her exact double. Emilie's heart pounding in her chest as she stared at the apparition. Her doppelganger looked back at her with hollow eyes. Emilie could hardly believe what she was seeing. Gathering her courage, she stepped forward to confront the doppelganger. But, as she did, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind an eerie silence. The classroom remained still, the students too scared to move. Emilie, shaken but trying to maintain her composure, told her students that it must have been their imagination and urged them to return to their studies. But the incident was not something easily forgotten. The story of Emilie Sagée's doppelganger spread through the school and eventually the town. After the unsettling incident involving her doppelganger, Emilie Sagée's life took a challenging turn. The fear and unease caused by her mysterious double led to a growing concern among the students, parents, and staff at the school. Despite her talents and her dedication as a teacher, the repeated appearances of her doppelganger were too much for the school to overlook. Eventually, Emilie was asked to leave her position at the school. The stigma of being associated with such a strange phenomenon made it difficult for her to find stable employment in the teaching profession. She reportedly moved from place to place, unable to escape the shadow of her doppelganger. The notion that seeing one's doppelganger is a bad omen loomed large in her case. People believed that the appearance of her double was a harbinger of misfortune, not just for her, but for those around her as well. Emilie's encounter with her doppelganger continued sporadically, and each time it brought a wave of fear and distress. While there's no detailed record of Emilie Sagée's later life, it is said that she continued to live with the unsettling presence of her doppelganger.
It's nuts. I'm surprised they didn't just immediately go to witch and then, you know.
Right? Yeah, I know. I mean, well, I know that's definitely like an American, 15th, 16th, whatever, 16th century or whatever it was,
Right.
when the witch scare was, or the witch trials, I should say. But yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, they obviously wanted her out, but even that first time, it always gets me though when there's stories like this where it's not just her that experienced it,
Like a
but
whole,
like, and it's not even like one other person. It's an entire group.
like,
Just
I know if we were in the class and that was like our teacher, we'd be like, something's going on. How are you doing that?
right. The fact that they were just all quiet. I mean,
That's
I
crazy.
I couldn't. I know. I mean, I guess, being 19th century, you don't really speak out maybe in the
Oh,
classroom, different times maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking, but or maybe they were just so frozen with fear, all of them collectively. I mean, I know I would be.
they're like, oh my God, is she going to kill us?
I mean, I say that in that situation, I'd be like, whoa, whoa, what is that? What is that? But would I probably be more frozen in fear? I mean, that'd be such a trippy ass thing to see.
Right?
Like, so trippy.
Like,
Mm.
I think I may need glasses. And you're like, no, I can see it too, and I don't need glasses.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing, other as opposed to like some of the paranormal things that we've gone through, where like the ghosts where they're stuck in a loop or whatever. It's almost seems different because, I mean, it is different, but it seems almost not really necessarily paranormal in the fact that you're not are you seeing a ghost of yourself? Are you seeing that loop? Like, that'll eventually be there because, like, time is so weird? Like,
Mhm.
what in because it almost like, from at least from Emily's story, it seems like she had hollow eyes. So, I'm going to think that her eyes or her pupils or whatever weren't there. But, like, is she in, like, almost like another parallel universe looking at Emily and having the same the same interaction? Like, is that doppelganger also freaked out?
You would like, because they say that like it's a layer, or like there's layers, right? So like if they overlap, like layers of the
Like,
not
layers of
time.
time?
Yeah,
Or like
kind of.
or like almost like a multiverse?
Yeah, and it's
Like,
like it can
plane?
intersect it sometimes, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of like what do I want to say? I think of a film like the old film reels, and like when they like kind of go out of focus but then come back into focus.
I see what you're
Like,
saying.
in Fight Club when he's splicing them, and
Yeah.
like some of the scenes it kind of like starts going off the track, but then comes back on. That's kind of what I think of.
I see what you're saying. Like the time is kind of running like a film reel, and then every now and then it blips. Is that what you're saying?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can see what you're saying. There's also kind of like this idea of like have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Like almost that idea of where like you're on the other side of a plane looking at someone, but you can't communicate with them, but you can see them. Like it almost sounds like that too, because it makes me go back to when that other story that I mentioned in the beginning, when I was giving the backstory of just doppelgangers in general, where that one guy was on a road in the 1700s and he saw himself, but he was in a completely different outfit. So like, was he seeing himself in the future, like on a different time plane? And then he just caught up with that time plane. Like that's what I automatically go to when it ever comes to these doppelganger stories. Is it a like what are we seeing? Yeah, like it's not a ghost. It just doesn't sound ghost to me.
No, it sounds like it's like a time thing. Like
Yeah,
I know, well, times, you know what I mean. But like,
right.
yeah.
But like, but that's what I'm saying is that we have such a I mean, we have a huge understanding of obviously things within science, but at the same time, there's so many things that are unanswered,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to, I mean, there's the Einstein's theory and all of that have really kind of propelled like what time is and kind of our understanding of it, but it's just a wild concept because yeah, like I said, there's so many things that we don't understand that could a glimpse of a doppelganger be something like that? Could it just be that? But yeah, it doesn't sound like a ghost.
Because there's other doppelgangers too. Like, it would be like more of a, well, not doppelganger. I guess it would be like Wendigos when they use the voice when they're trying to attract someone
Mm-hmm.
to them, or like, there are ones that are taking on the form, but that's, I guess that would be
Well, that's like,
other.
you mean like a shapeshifter type of
Yeah, I
thing?
guess that would be a shapeshifter. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then there's the other aspect too that it brings on, like it's almost an omen, which a lot of those people that I talked about in the beginning had bad things happen to them. um, you know, like Abraham Lincoln stands out in your mind, like
Hmm.
clearly on the night of his election, clearly from that point on, he kind of it was a very difficult time for him to say the least.
But
So
what, like, it goes back to, I think we talked about it before, like a timing thing. Like, is it immediate or is it just coincidental? It was going to happen down the road anyway, but then this thing happened too.
right, exactly. And like, yeah, like how we've kind of mentioned that before too. Like how where is the timeline? Like, is there an expiration date to these homes?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what we said. Yep. I
Yeah.
remember now.
Yeah, like these curses and these omens, like how far apart does it have to happen? Like we've said before, I think we said, yeah, in our curse episode, the one with the mummy, where we're like, well, you could say something bad happens to you like a year later and be like, oh, that's because I saw that doppelganger.
Didn't fucking touch the mummy. That's why.
Yeah. It was like 50 years later, like, oh, doppelganger.
Ah, man.
Oh man, slaps head. It's like a freeze frame from like a 90s sitcom. Oh,
Yeah. Do.
oh, doppelganger.
But yeah, no, that's, I mean, obviously I like to, we're here because we like to think that we can,
Yeah,
um,
of course.
imagine that.
Right. We're talking on a completely like we don't. I'm not standing here and saying this is what happened. This is what it is. A speculation of like, let's have our minds open about this and just kind of speculate. From what we know from fiction and what we know from fact as well, and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Like, well, what could it be? What are we theorizing here? Because clearly people are seeing it. Like, you can make it up, sure, but when it comes to these situations, okay, the 19th century, someone said that a classroom saw it. There's not really much you can do during that time to back up your statement. It's not like there were any other cameras, witnesses, like that just wasn't a
Hmm.
thing, right?
Right.
But there was the one modern story where it was like 2015 in a grocery store, and that was his friends saw it too. So that makes it almost more believable just because it's more of a modern time. And 2015 was, I mean, that's the height of still, social media was very prevalent at that point. And um, there was a lot of cameras and things of that sort. It makes me curious, like, if it was in a grocery store, what would you see if you looked into the camera?
Camera footage. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting to watch. Yeah. Be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I've seen too, like, people just find people as well. Like, there is this just a phenomena amongst people where there are people that just look remarkably similar, and it's not anything paranormal or weird. It's just like I've seen pictures of that, online and stuff of people meeting their quote unquote doppelgangers,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where it's
Or
not
like
like,
even you look at some celebrities, like
yeah,
you could just say like, what are the Katy Perry, Zoe Deschanel? I don't know if I said
yeah,
that
no,
right.
and the ones I think
And then
the one I think about too is um what's the actress's name? Barbie. Margie
Margot Robbie,
Margot Robbie,
Robert.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Um, where there's like a few different actresses that all look like almost exactly the same.
Like have that face. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they look incredibly similar. Like they probably all be siblings, but they're not.
Right.
So you obviously have that phenomena within just the normal race of people, the species of people. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, this idea of like you see someone that's just kind of like mimicking your movements and hollow eyes, like that's when you get into it and you're like, what am I seeing? Yeah. Yeah.
My grandmother, when she was alive, saw she saw someone that looked like me at her church,
Oh
but he
yeah.
was like taller. But she's like, he looks exactly like you, and I
Yeah.
was like,
And that's the thing too. You get stories like that as well. Those are the other stories I didn't think about. But you get those stories as well as where other people report that they saw you and you didn't see it. But they're
right.
like, I
Hmm.
swear I saw you come from the other room. Like I've heard those stories before. It's like, I swear I saw you downstairs just like earlier. And like, oh, I've been up here the whole time. Like that type of thing. Like, and that's wild when someone else reports it to you.
Hmm.
Why would they even try to lie about that? I mean, they could be pranking you, but it's kind of a weird prank.
Right. Yeah. Well, it could be some
Yeah.
of them. I had two stories that happened to me that are kind of like, one might be more of a like a like I was talking about, like something calling to get your attention, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to being a doppelganger, or it just may have been things in. It was collective though. This one, so
It
it was
happened to
two
you?
people, me and one of my friends. Yeah, we
Okay.
both heard the same thing at the same time, and we both like said it at the same time. It wasn't
You both did
like
what at the same time?
so. Start the story. We were in Florida. We're
Okay.
at Disney. It was me
Okay.
and my two friends.
Yeah.
We each had separate rooms, obviously. I won't give names because I just don't know if they don't want them.
Sure.
So we're all about to go to bed. We all went to our rooms, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I heard, I can't remember if it was, hey, or guys. And we thought our friend, she had called out to us. Both me and my friend, like, bolted to the door because it was like a concerning.
Weird. Yeah.
And
And it
we
sounded
were like,
like one of your friends.
it was her. It was her. It was her
It
voice.
was straight up her voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And we hadn't heard anyone else like talking in the units at all.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was pretty quiet. And we both come in there, and I look at him. I go, "You heard that, right?" He goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You okay?" And she's like, "Yeah. What are you guys talking about?" We're like, "Did you not just call out?" And she's like, "I didn't say anything."
That's so
And we were like,
weird. That's so
But yeah,
weird.
me and my buddy heard. We heard her voice say it.
That's so strange.
And yeah, we can't. And she's like, "No, I didn't say anything. I was
And
about to go to
she's
bed."
not one to pull like pranks on you
She
guys.
wouldn't. No, she wouldn't do that. No, because she was going. She
Or
was legit going to
if she
bed.
did, she would tell you. She wouldn't like hold it from you.
Yeah, she'd be like, "Ah, I fucked with you." Yeah. No.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was.
that's
That
wild.
was quite.
Yeah, and the fact that both of you heard it. It's not like just you heard it or your friend heard it. It was both of you. And that just makes it stranger. That
Mhm.
just makes it really crazy because it's like it 100% happened then. Like
Yeah.
right, like you both heard it. I mean, there
And
is
like I
there,
said,
I mean
it.
those, those sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, maybe it could have been someone yelling, and it just got that pitch just right.
Right. I mean,
But like,
you're in a hotel, and you got, especially if you're in a Disney hotel, you have kids going everywhere, people running,
well,
calling for their kids that are running
I
down
think it
the
was a
hallway.
condo, but still, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So
Like
you weren't
we.
in like a resort. You were in a
No, and
hotel.
I
Oh,
can't remember if we were on the first floor or the third floor. It was either we didn't have a
but
top or we didn't have a bottom.
gotcha. But I mean, there is that idea of someone in, the parking lot yelling at something, or
Yeah, yeah.
that could be a thing. With the fact that they both did they say your names?
I think it was something to the effect of like, "Hey guys" or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
But it just sounded
And
so eerily similar to her voice.
yes.
That's weird.
Hmm.
Strange. Wow.
Um. Do you?
Dude, maybe it's you. You know what? Because we there was that weird experience that you had with your friend, and then there was we saw those UFOs together. Maybe it's you.
It could be me.
You were
I
harbinger.
mean, I do have. I have another one that's actually
Just like the
closer to the
magnet.
doppelganger.
Oh yeah, just a magnet for this
Yeah.
weird stuff.
I mean,
Well,
sometimes. I mean, I don't.
people who are into the paranormal thing, they say that there are people like that are just a little bit more, for whatever reason, more magnetic or attracted to it.
Maybe I just don't see it. Maybe it's just like I think it's the norm, and then like if it's got to be extra extra crazy to
I was
be.
actually kind of thinking that to myself the other day, like maybe it was when I was researching that stuff, but like how often do you think like these weird things happen and you just don't notice because you're just doing your day-to-day routine,
Yeah.
and like these weird things are happening and you just are like whatever, and you just don't notice it, and it's just like, no, you did see someone else out of the corner of your eye, like that did happen, but you just
Hmm.
don't realize it because you're just going day to day and just doing, yeah, like
That's your norm.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, oh god. Crazy. But anyway, so what was it? So
Um,
you had another weird experience you were coming up with?
yeah. So to set this one up, I mean, I was downtown our area at the bars with some
Okay.
friends, so I was
Yeah.
drinking,
Mhm.
but we were in, I think my friends wanted to go in the hookah bar, so they went in there, and I was just like, I was hanging out, and then I went outside because sometimes I just like to go out and get fresh air and just hang out outside for a second.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 or 3 guys outside smoking, and my buddy was smoking, and they were like, "Oh," and I have no idea who these guys are. These 3 other guys, I have no idea. Never seen them before in my life.
Okay.
They were like, "Holy shit!" They're like, "Hey, Pat, what's up?" And I like stopped and thought for a second because again, I am drunk and
Okay. Well, there's
I don't know who they are, and they're like, they know who I am. Like they recognize me,
yeah.
and I don't recognize them. So I'm trying to process in my head, like, well, what am I going to do now? Am I going to tell them I don't know who they are, or am I going to pretend? I went with pretend. So I was like, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?"
But you had
And then they started talking to me. I had no clue who they were. And they started talking about how I was at a party. We were all talking on the couch. And here's another kicker. They go, "How's your sister?" And they said her name. And I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like in my head, I'm like,
well,
but I just kept going along with the
and
story, and
nothing rang a bell at whatsoever, like a party or anything like that.
no, because I mean, I can't. I mean, I get drunk like when I was younger, but like I have to remember people, you know,
Yeah.
and like I did not know who these people were, and even like anyone I would have went to parties with to
Yeah.
see these people at that time, or
Yeah.
would have seen these people,
Yeah.
they had already started walking down the street, and they weren't even talking to them because they didn't even know them.
That's weird.
And those are my core group friends that I hung out with at that point.
Sure.
And like, so they didn't even stop. They didn't even recognize these people.
That's weird. Huh.
And I was just like,
I mean,
after I had to walk away because my friends were down the street, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go," but you know, it was nice seeing you. And I got up to my friends. I'm like, "Yo, I don't know who those people were. I just made up stories." And they're like, I don't even remember what they said, but
well, I mean, you can chalk it up to drinking, but at the same time, if nothing rings a bell, then that is kind of weird. Like you're like, am I losing it? Or
and they knew my sister's name. And at that point, my sister would not have been going to parties with me,
and then
or like there's no way they could have connected it.
I just picture this like, and then you turn around and they're completely gone. It just vanished.
I didn't even turn around after I like went to catch up with my friends. I didn't turn around, so I have no idea.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like if it was a film, and like I just feel that would just be like a moment where like you would turn back around and be like, I swear they were right there.
That's why my friends walked away, because I was talking to people that they didn't even see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe. It's wild.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, this whole doppelganger thing it's as from all the things that we've talked about, it's one of the more unique and intriguing topics because it would
Oh
just
yeah.
so trippy.
Me and my friend, when we were in high school and we went to the mall, sometimes we'd find doppelganger like people. Like they wouldn't look. It's like the celebrity thing. It's like they look like
Yeah.
people we know,
Oh
but
yeah, sure.
and we call them number one or number twos, number threes, there's number four, because we had like that many that look like the
Yeah.
person we knew.
I mean, so many people have said that I look like John Belushi that I guess I'm his doppelganger.
It's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, he was a fun guy. But yeah, that's wild. And going back to the stories though from that we told, how those kids, there's no way you can recover from that. Like you'd be messed up for the rest of your life. There is I would never tell another story. Like not another story. Any story would be like, hey, you have any cool stories to share? That'd be the story I'd share, and then I'd be like, that's all I got though. But like that is enough.
Right? That's enough. You're set for life. Like,
yeah, but like you'd be so messed up too. Be like so screwed up. And the poor teacher too. Like living her whole life, like this thing just showing up. Be like, stop showing up. Go away.
stop. Either merge with my timeline or cut it out.
You're right, but that would drive me nuts. And also the Abraham Lincoln one, I would shit my pants if I saw a doppelganger in the mirror and it wasn't in the actual room with me. Like the room with me, scary enough, but to see it in the mirror and it not be there at all, that's creepy as hell.
It's like the hitchhiking ghosts.
Yeah. It's like that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where she's like stuck in the mirror.
Oh God.
You remember that one? That one creeped me out.
I do.
That one was so scary as a kid. But then it turned out to be like her little sister or something that went missing like years prior. I think that's what it
Yes.
was. Yeah, was that what it was?
Yeah, no, it was there's her like aunt or something was stuck in the mirror.
That's right. Man.
And then she came back out, but she was still younger, I think.
Man, who?
It was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
I loved
Good
that
one.
show as a kid. And obviously that was one of our gateways to loving horror. But like, who approved those shows for children? Like that's some crazy dark shit. But
right? I mean, and it was definitely Are You Afraid of the Dark back then was darker than Goosebumps was, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, Goosebumps was always just
even though Goosebumps has twists.
Yeah, but it was always very playful. Like, I mean, there were scary elements to it, I guess. But I always remember being way scared, way more scared of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh yeah,
I ever
100%.
was Goosebumps. Like even the book Goosebumps, like I just enjoyed the books. I loved them, but it wasn't. Even though I probably didn't read half of them. I just like
I read maybe like 2 of them. I had like 50 of the books. I read maybe 2 of them because I had to for book reports.
I loved the artwork so much. I just loved collecting them, basically.
Yes.
Right? Like, but there were some that I did finish. But yeah, for the most part, like and I bet you there are a lot of people like that. Like R.L. Stine just made his success off of these kids like going to book fairs and just buying these books because they like the cover.
That's okay, because now I like the newer series are pretty cool.
I haven't watched it yet. I have to check it out.
And the Fear Street movies. Oh my God, those are so cool. I love those.
I know, and he's making more. I love them. They're so good. But anyway, all right. So kind of a tangent there, but a fun one. But that's the type of stuff that we're going to be talking about with Dying to Discuss. We're going to be talking about all the media. And it doesn't have to just be
we'll go on.
As you can tell, we're dying to discuss it. No one else will listen to us because we'll just go on and on about it and people will be like, shut up.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And then put it out there for everyone else to listen to.
Exactly. If you want to listen, you can listen. But yeah, if we talk about this in real life, people are like, shut up. Stop talking.
Like, oh my God, Matt and Pat are going at it again.
Like, oh God. Okay. All right. We get it. You love horror. I'm like, yeah, we do. Okay. I want to talk about it a little bit more. But we're gonna use this and you're gonna listen to us. But anyway, all right. So if you don't have anything else to share,
those are my stories.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this season of Horror Time, season 4, which is crazy. Yeah, right. And then we'll be back. Oh man, season 5 will start back up during our normal time, right before, like into September. And
for a milestone episode, we're gonna have to do something crazy.
I know, right? But yeah, it'll start, probably in sometime in September, same timeline. But we're not quite sure when we're starting Dying to Discuss right now. We're gonna probably take a little bit of time to work on it. to figure out what films we want to watch first and what we want to discuss and get our talking points and all that fun stuff going, and really kind of figure out the structure of what we want. But yeah, keep your eyes and ears out for when that is going to come around. We'll post that on our same socials. If you want more creepy stuff, keep up with us on Facebook, TikTok. Thanks again, guys, for joining us. So keep that horror time alive all year as we do around here. And we will talk to you later.
Have a nice one.
All right.